Good morning, all you fabulous people. I just wanted to get a video out today. Got a bunch to talk about. I will probably be out the first half of next week. We'll probably not do a video till like Friday at the earliest. I have a lot of stuff coming for openings. Might be able to do an opening this afternoon depending on when the stuff comes in. But thank you all for your 283 subs. Well on our way to 300. A big boost over the past week. Thank you very much. Code JCH at Fyendal's Collection gets you a free month of premium. I did get some updates on Fyendal's though. They did add promos to their market trends tab, which I requested, which is pretty great. So we're going to talk about a few of those in here. Also, they are increasing their pricing from, I think it's $3 a month to $5 a month come soon. But if you've already subscribed, you can, and are keep paying for the $3 a month, they said they're never going to increase that $3 a month pricing if you're continuing to pay it. So just a heads up on that. So getting your month of premium is now $5 as opposed to $3, which is pretty nice. So just look out for that. Without further ado, we're going to talk about cardboard. Codex of Frailty is depleted from the market. The Marvel one is here for 500. It's a BGS 9++, which is pretty crazy. And then it goes to $1,000 is the only one listed. Last sold were about $390. These are very limited stock, very hard to pull. So just watch out for these. I do think they're going to come. Some people are probably going to relist them lower again, but just wanted to point it out. Embodiment of Earth. There is only one here at $200. Tyler Righteous Gaming. This is a prize wall, one cold foil. So these, depending on how playable they are, they're like $100 to $200. But just wanted to point out that it went up quite a bit. It was, I think the last listed was 120, and then it got taken down. So now there's only one on the market at 200. Emperor Jacrai of the Azir. Marvel. There hasn't been any sold, but it was down to 700 last week, and now it is up to 750 or 741 again. Just wanted to point it out that it had like a $50 spike basically. There were some even under 600 at one point. So keep your eye on this. You might be able to pick up a Marvel Emperor here soon. It's getting cheaper and cheaper. Phantom Tide Maw just boomed again. It's probably depleted from the market. Yeah. One at $50, or basically these are all at $50 for like 2 play sets or 3 play sets. And then one rainbow foil for $65. So if you have some Tide Maws, I'd list them. Last sold was about $40. So pretty crazy. Open your right lights. Warmongers also has spiked. This is pretty good against Azalea. She's doing really well in the meta. As well as some of the other newer heroes kind of do a mix of attack actions and attack reactions and all that stuff. And it's a blue-black 3. There's quite a few on the market, though, around the 60 mark. So I do recommend when this comes back down, if you don't have a playset and you're serious about the game, to get a set. I think this is going to be a staple in the game for a long time because it shuts down a lot of play styles, or at least gives you a footing back into the game. Hold the Line. It's gone absolutely crazy again. $33 for the non-foil. There's only a few here on the market. Right now I'd buy these rainbow foils over the non-foils. Or this one non-foil at 36, we'll call it 37. But there is only 2 playsets on the market. Really good card. I don't know if it's worth $33. This, once again, is a pretty situational card, but it's very good into Brute. And kind of 3 of a kind, that kind of stuff. Anything that's going to draw 2 cards, any Art of War turn, or like Blood Rush Bellow, very good. So watch out for these. I think this will also be a pretty staple in the metal, depending on how much card draw we continue to get. Pretty good card, though. A blue block 2 that basically can prevent up to 5, so it's a really good card. Already Dead has went up quite a bit again. Depleted from the market, about $50 for two or three play sets here. I think this is just being used in new and other, pretty much any assassin would be my guess at this point. Once again, it's Bright Lights, which hasn't been open that much. I'd have to look at the EV of Bright Lights, but I'm guessing it's getting pretty spicy. I think it was even not too long ago, and I'm sure it's probably getting better and better. Miraging Metamorph, the non-foil is about $27. I think earlier this week we talked, it was like $21. The rainbow foil, though, is like $35. It did come down from its like $40 spike. This is definitely being used in every new, Enigma deck. It's just super good. I personally have tried to fit this card in pretty much any Illusionist deck I picked because it's a 1-for-7 and it copies an aura, so it can do copy your Passing Mirages or Shimmers of Silvers, that kind of stuff. So it becomes pretty crazy out of hand, especially with the value you can get from it. And if they don't pop it, it's a 1-for-7, which is crazy. Head leads the tail. This is being used in Zen. The non-foil is like $5.60. But the rainbow foil is going pretty crazy. It's at $11, and there's only a few more left on the market, up to basically $15, we'll call it. So I would see if these continue to sell, we probably see it continue to go up. So watch out. If you have Head Leads the Tail, might be starting to... These were like $1 or 50 cents less than a month ago or so. Yeah, February or 2 months ago. Yeah, but buffing Crouching Tigers is pretty good. This one was interesting. So I was looking for some cards for one of my local buddies to bling out his Zen deck, and this went crazy. It was like $3, and now it's $11. There's only a few left for the EA Blue 100 wins. The other one that I find interesting here is Bonds of Ancestry. The rainbow foil red is just gone from the market, which is just wild. There's 8 pages of listings of non-foils, but the rainbow foil, the lowest rainbow foil is last sold was $3, and I don't expect them to come back at $3. I'd guess like 4 or 5. But this is a rare from Outsiders. Just watch out. Outsiders, I think, is not very well opened either. So just pretty crazy. Toxicity. I found these interesting. The past couple days, these just got bumped up. Basically, these were about $4-5, and then I'm guessing a few got delisted from the market, and then they went up to like $9. The blue is up to like $4 or $5, and it was at $3. None have been sold, which is just kind of interesting. On to the deals portion of the video here. Visit the Goldmane Estate, I think, is very good for $1. I don't see how this... It's a blue block 3 with a pretty powerful effect, and it has Go Again. It does cost 1, but in Guardian it's pretty easy to have that extra resource per turn to not really have an issue. I think it's very good for $1. If you need your playset and you like Victor, I think $3.60 for a playset is pretty damn good. Next, we got Down and Dirty. There is one copy here for $5, which I think is way too cheap. This card is pretty flexible. It hasn't seen much play, but it was up to like $20 at one point for a non-foil and was barely seeing play. It was pretty good against Prism and Dromai even. I don't think it's going to see the same amount of play in Enigma because most of her stuff is based off Ward and it doesn't have Phantasm, but there is some stuff that has Phantasm, but I don't know if you really want to slot it for potential, a lower chance of usage, let's call it that way. Terra Sunder, the non-foil here is $2.50. That's too darn cheap. That card is busted. Very good for Guardian. Highly recommend picking it up if you don't have a copy. Eloquent Eulogy. I think this card for $3 is kind of a steal. This basically is everything Vyndset wants in a card. It's a Rugengate 1, and it's a 4 attack, blocks 3, and then has a create an Eloquence token, which is pretty good. I don't think this card stays $3. It's an expansion slot card, and it's pretty good for Vyndset. Vyndset also has a pretty good matchup into Enigma and Prism. I do think she still needs a little bit more, but I kind of suspect some kind of Runeblade support is coming soon because they have the smallest card pool. Just keep an eye out on Eloquent Eulogy. Also, I listed a bunch of Vyndset cards from a collection I got, basically, and they sold overnight, just as a heads up. So I think people are trying to cook with Vyndset here. Visit the Golden Anvil, I think, is also pretty good for $1. Playset for $3 basically is a steal. A lot of people have been specking on this card, basically saying it's going to make Olympia from D tier to like B or A tier, which is pretty crazy to think one card can swing him that much. It's also just something we've never been able to do in the game before, to summon or especially equipment. Summoning equipment from your inventory is pretty unheard of. Weapons, we've been able to recall like daggers and stuff, but this is pretty crazy. 0 cost, it's a blue block 3 as well, so it fits in well with like a Decimator build, in my opinion. So I think this card's pretty good. Rage Spectre, I think this card under $5 is pretty good. I've seen it in quite a few Enigma decks. This is basically the aura you put out, and you try to keep it alive because it attacks for 6 on your turn, but it only blocks for 1 on the opponent's turn. But it's also very good against Wizard or anybody that can do damage on your turn to you. So because it's ward for 6 on your turn, ward for 1 on opponent's turn. So pretty good. I think this is a good sideboard card in Wizard at the very least, if not mainstay in the deck. Maul, this card is dirt cheap. I don't think this card should be $3.50 for a playset. This is an attack reaction, 0 cost, blocks 3. Target attack action card with 1 or less base attack gets +3. So Crouching Tiger or some of your other attacks. Target Crouching Tiger gets, when this hits, create 2 Crouching Tigers in your banished zone. You may play this turn. So this can come out of hand real quick. It can give your Crouching Tiger +3 or maybe even a 0 attack Crouching Tiger +3, and then create more Crouching Tigers off of hit. Very good card. I haven't been keeping track of Zen's deck builds that much, but I feel like this is a pretty solid Zen card. Deep Dense Blue Mist, I think is a pretty good card. I think especially for the Mystic. I don't think it's great. I compare this to This Round's on Me. It's only Mystic locked though. It doesn't block, and it's a 1 cost. So I do think this card for $6 for a playset is pretty good to at least have if you're going to play any of the Mystic heroes. It's really good against Zen. It's really good against even probably New a little bit, and probably Enigma. I think this Enigma, depending on our build, but I could see this seeing playing against most of the newer heroes, as well as I think it's pretty good against Phi. So I think $6 for a playset of this is pretty decent. 10,000 Year Reunion, I think, is too cheap as well. This card's pretty strong, especially if you can summon it with the +3 counters. Or from the +3 counters, it becomes very strong very quick. Excuse me. And then you can also, I don't think you're probably going to do this, but it could come in a pinch. You can do your Meridian Pathways and summon this as an instant on your opponent's turn and block out 10. Could be really good against like Azalea or Guardian, that kind of stuff. Anybody that goes really tall, even like Azuri, that kind of stuff. I think $4.50 for a playset is pretty good for this card. This card's kind of, in my opinion, this is one of my favorite cards from the set as an Enigma player. I want to make this work in a deck, and I haven't seen too many Enigma decks, to be honest, but it seems like it's a pretty main board stay. Manifestations of Miragai. I also think this card at, let's call it $10 a playset, is pretty good. I think this is pretty much a staple in Enigma, and I don't see how it will not be. The only problem is it don't block, but it's an instant, as well as it can attack for 8 if you pitch the chi, so it's pretty strong. Mistcloak Goalie, the fabled of this set. Rainbow foil has been trickling down to like, it's like 78, we call it, but the cold foil, I kind of predicted this. It was up $300, and I suspected it's going to come back down to $200. I think $200 starting to get into the fair price. This is a Marvel back on the cold foil, whereas the non-foil one just looks like this, and it's non-foil, or the rainbow foil is, this is a non-foil back. So I kind of want the cold foil over the rainbow foil for that reason alone. I do think this will probably settle between 150 and 200. I don't think it goes much lower than that, but we shall see. The interesting thing is heavy hitters had only cold foil from for the Deathmatch Arena, whereas this one has both the rainbow foil and cold foil again, which is interesting. But the Deathmatch Arena is right around 150, and it basically has not dipped that below that very much. So we'll see. Enigma Young Marvel. There is finally some sales at 113 on this, 114. The cold foil, the Marvel. This is the Young. I still think this has room to drop. I think this is pretty crazy that this Marvel is over 100, where the other two are like $70 or unders. I don't think a single Zen has sold yet, and that was like $60, and it's probably $50 for the Young Zen anyway. I do think this is probably a contender for the most beautiful card in the set, but and I do have one coming, secured a trade, which I'm pretty happy about. But just wanted to point that out. Mask of Recurring Nightmares continues to drop, but the rainbow foil is about $60. I wanted to bring this to attention. The cold foil, there's only the EA cold foil. Mask of Recurring Nightmares has the rainbow foil and cold foil listing just like this, and then it has the EA listing that's $250. Save yourself some money and buy the cold foil off a regular here. Even though it says it's not an EA, it is an EA. There's only the cold EA as a cold foil. So 170 for the cold foil seems like it's getting there. I think this is probably 150 to 125 when it settles. But definitely do not buy this $250 EA. Buy the cold foil version if you're buying from TCG Player. It's the same card. Carrion Husk, the cold foil is too cheap. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how cheap it is. 103 for this card is nuts. The rainbow foil is only $80. $20 more you can get the first edition cold foil, which is just crazy to me. This is just a Shadow staple. If you have any interest in playing Shadow heroes, this card will probably be your chess piece. Unless there's more a specific hero chess piece coming in for a specific Shadow hero. This card is just super good. It covers CNC, it covers some other crazy on hits for free basically, and then is just good. So I think that's a pretty good pickup. Crown of Prominence cold foil as well, 150. This came down to 150 a little bit ago. And then a few were sold, and then it went back up to like 175 to 200. So it's back down to 150. I think this is one of the best pickups for growth. The rainbow foil especially is like $85, which is too cheap for this card. This card, when it was in its heyday before Balance of Justice, was $200, $300 pretty easily. I think it's also one of my favorite cold foils. The gold etching on this looks very good. There is a heavily played one with some pictures. It looks like it's got a crease on it for $140. I would just buy this $150 one, or one of these two first. Red Lead Games, my local store. They're pretty good price. Highly recommend buying from them. Stormstriders Near Mint Rainbow Foil is under $60 again. This card is disgustingly good. For $55 or $58, I think this is a steal. This is a second set legendary that was one per case basically, or legendary was one per case, not Stormstriders, but this is probably going to be the wizard footpiece for foreseeable future. It allows you to play cards on your opponent's turn, which is very good, and basically lets you kind of combo off as Kano or Blaze and get lethals here. I would struggle to find a card that power creeps this, but it could be done, or maybe it's specific to a certain hero. But Stormstrider is very good at $58, even for just a collection pickup. 12 Pet Kasaya, similar to Mask of Recurring Nightmares. The cold foil is $150. It only comes in EA, and the EA listed is at $160. So you can save yourself $10 by just buying the cold foil listing here. And here we go. The Sacred Arts, I think, are, especially the Lunar Shine one, is too cheap. $73 for the Marble Lunar Shine. To put it in perspective, the calling promos is $50 for the Rainbow Foil EA, basically. For $30 more, you can get a Marvel that's inset, that's cold foiled, that has textures and has a Marvel back for the Chi. I think that's a pretty good pickup. I do think the Sacred Art Jade Tiger Domain is also pretty too cheap, or getting there. They still continue to be dropping. Are they selling? Yeah, there's one even sold at $69. That's a pretty good price. And the Sacred Art, this one's also selling. I do think the new one's probably a bit too expensive still. But it has waifu text on it of a half-naked lady walking into water. So just keep that in mind. The Meridian Pathway at $29, I think, is a pretty good pickup. It seems to be used in pretty much any Enigma deck. The Cold Foil, I think it still has room to drop based off of the Rainbow Foil. So just watch out for that. I do think the Rainbow Foil is probably the version you want anyway, with the coloring on this. It looks really good. I haven't seen a Cold Foil in person yet, but the Rainbow Foil looks amazing because all the ray bling in here. And last but not least, Mask of Momentum Rainbow Foil, $55 is $53, $56 is too cheap. This card, I still don't see how this isn't being used in Zen as much. If I was building Zen, I'd be putting this in over Mask of Pouncing Links. But you could also use the Transcend card. I do think the Transcend card is better than Pouncing Links, but I struggle to believe that, me personally, threatening a card draw every turn as a ninja is disgusting, especially when you can go so wide with Zen. They just basically have to respect every third attack, or you get a draw a card. That just seems super good to me. Once again, haven't been keeping track of the Zen decks as much, but I think Mask of Momentum is pretty. It forces your opponent to play around your turn instead of just ignoring it, which is very good. All right, thank you all. Thank you all for your 283 subs. Thanks for the views. Code JCH gets you a free month of premium. Hope you guys all have a fantastic weekend, and I'll catch you hopefully next week. Bye.